want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. Her racism letter. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The Telegraph reports exclusive. Harry's wife wrote to the King over racism concerns. Revelations come after Duchess of Sussex confirms she will not come to Britain for Charles's coronation. The article by Victoria Ward tells us the Duchess of Sussex expressed her concerns about unconscious bias in the royal family in a letter to the King, the Telegraph can reveal. It is understood that the correspondence was sent in the wake of the March 2021 Oprah Winfrey interview, in which the Duchess alleged that a member of the royal family had speculated about the colour of her unborn son's skin. A source has said that the Duchess feels she has not received a satisfactory response to her concerns, and that is believed to be one factor in her decision not to attend the coronation on May 6th. To that, I say this: bullshit. The reason why Harry's wife is not attending the coronation is because it's not about her, and because her narcissism apprehends that she will face such a level of hostility from the British public, from the British press, and the royal family itself, that her narcissism determines that this is too great a threat to her need for control, and it is not outweighed by potential gains elsewhere. That is why she is not attending. Of course, her narcissism may well tell her, maybe not such a good idea to attend, there's going to be all these haters and bigots and it's going to be a rough ride. And therefore, that causes her to agree, in essence, that she ought not to go. And she asserts control by staying in a place of withdrawal. This is entirely commensurate with her passive-aggressive status as a mid-range narcissist who's nasty to people and bullying behind the scenes, but outwardly behaves in a cowardly fashion whenever the going gets rough. Furthermore, her narcissism will generate a reason and an explanation as to why she would not be attending. Last week, she was telling us that the main reason she wasn't attending was because she wanted it all to be about Charles and not about her, by continuing to talk about herself, demonstrating her hypocrisy and her false compassion. But now her narcissism is causing her to put forward a different explanation, namely, you didn't address my concerns about unconscious bias, therefore you're all nasty people, so why would I turn up and attend an event involving you when you've been such a big horrible meanie to me? Once again, we're getting a different reason as to the basis for her non-attendance. It's a little bit like the hokey-cokey that went on with Prince Philip's funeral. Of course, what this does is it keeps her in the press. It keeps people talking about her. It keeps people commenting about her, which is precisely what she needs. But at the same time, the collateral consequence of this behaviour is such that we see that it's last week one reason, this week another reason, neither of which will be accepted by the vast majority of individuals. Not that she cares about that, she simply has to get it out there. In effect, she hoovers the King by sending a letter saying, I want you to explain yourself about unconscious bias. Of course, this is one of those concepts whereby Harry's wife latches onto it. And rather than say, oh, there's overt racism, it's unconscious bias. Of course, in the Oprah Winfrey interview, she made it seem like overt racism by saying somebody speculated about the colour of her unborn son's skin and the suggestion that her son wouldn't get a title, and that was born on racism. Then, of course, there was a later retraction of saying, oh no, we didn't make any racist allegations at all. Now, just because you didn't use the word racist doesn't mean that you don't make a racist allegation. And it shows the wriggling that goes on by Harry's wife, and also Harry, who follows in her wake, in terms of the hypocrisy that is exhibited. Now, she resurrects that. So, having said, oh, it wasn't about racism, it now becomes, actually, I raised concerns about unconscious bias, though I didn't use the word racism, opens bracket, though you might as well have done, close brackets, and because I didn't get a satisfactory response, because after all, I am the most important person in the universe, and I am the most important individual that the king has ever had to deal with, and the fact is, he didn't give me a satisfactory response. And therefore, I determine that because he hasn't answered my demands, I'm not going to go to the coronation. Yabu sucks. The article continues by explaining that it is understood that her letter was sent in reply to one from the king. He is believed to be the only senior member of the family to make contact with the Duchess after the interview. Now, as a consequence of particular hard work by your glorious narrator, I have here a copy of Charles's letter to Harry's wife, and I can tell you what he wrote. Dear Tungsten, fuck off. Yours sincerely, Chaz the King. There we are. Put it to her straight, a direct nullification of her threat to control by basically telling her to foxtrot Oscar. Of course, when the king issued that letter, it was a hoover from him, a direct assertion of control over her in order to nullify the threat posed by her questioning of him, because a situation of Narcissists collide, she is not allowed to do so. Then, Prince of Wales, he's understood to have expressed sadness over the chasm that had emerged between the two sides of the royal family. He is said to be disappointed that the Duke and Duchess felt the need to make such high-profile and damaging allegations. In the interview, the Duchess told Winfrey that there had been concerns and conversations about how dark his, Archie's, skin might be when he's born. A source claimed that the letters make clear the identity of the senior member of the family who made the comment. So basically, Harry's wife was ratting on that individual, saying, this person has said this about my son. Now remember, it might be that a member of the royal family did raise the innocent question, I wonder what colour he'll be. Because after all, he has a biracial mother and a pasty ginger father. It's a fair comment, and as we've said many times, and anybody with an oodle of common sense knows that such questions aren't racist, they're simply the speculation that always occurs in terms of, will the baby look like dad? Will the baby look like mum? Whose hair colouring will he have? Whose skin colouring will he have? What colour will his eyes be? Will he have a big nose? Will his eyes be close set together? Will he have a rictus grin like his mother? Etc. That isn't racism, it's the speculation that occurs every single time that there's news of an impending birth. But of course, Harry's wife utilises that speculation as a means to draw a pity play by triangulating the audience and Oprah Winfrey in the course of the interview. If that speculation truly did occur, it was innocent, and Harry's wife has twisted it in the way that a narcissist twists the use of words. Alternatively, it was never actually said. And of course, there's a revision of history undertaken by Harry's wife. Again, something that a narcissist will do. Either way, Harry's wife plucked this information, used it in the Oprah Winfrey interview, and then, thereafter, in order to prod Prince Charles, as he then was, issues a letter saying, I want some answers with regard to this behaviour. The king, of course, as who he is now, but then as Prince of Wales, responds explaining, well, I'm disappointed in what you've said. So in effect, he seeks to nullify her threat to control by expressing that your behaviour has been poor, that I'm disappointed in you, and it's a shame there's a chasm that has emerged between us. It's understood that both the King and the Duchess acknowledged that the individual's remark was not made with malice and had been considered innocuous observation. If this is the case, it once again demonstrates the ridiculousness of Harry's wife's behaviour, because if she states, I know that it was innocuous, why on earth did you bring it up in the Oprah interview? We know why. Because she doesn't care about it being innocuous. She needed to assert control over all those individuals that were watching the interview and those that would read about it in subsequent coverage in order to issue a pity play and smear the royal family. Indeed, thereafter stating that it was innocuous, demonstrates the nastiness of the smear itself. Remember, at the time she issued the smear, she believed in it, because her narcissism caused her to do so. And then at a later juncture, when she writes to the then Prince of Wales, Charles, her narcissism causes her to accept, I know it was innocuous, as an attempt to look reasonable, but all that does, by way of collateral consequence, is demonstrate the nastiness of the smear in the first place. The Duchess is believed to have thanked the king for his words. The Duchess's letter is also said to suggest that she had never intended to specifically accuse the individual involved of being a racist, but was raising concerns about unconscious bias, bullshit, revision of history, splitting hairs. However, it is understood that she does still consider the comment to be racist. So this shows the pretzel logic of Harry's wife, whereby she states, I wasn't accusing the individual of being a racist, but I still understand that the comment is a racist one. One royal source suggested that while the exchange was warm in tone, it had not eased the tension between the two sides. The Duchess is understood to feel that concerns she has raised, which crucially include the way in which the bullying allegations against her were handled and the allegation that neglect by the institution led her to feel suicidal, have still not been resolved. Once again, a brilliant example of the way the narcissist never buries anything dead and will repeatedly bring up the past as she does so here in an attempt to smear and use as a pity play. It was confirmed earlier this month that the Duke would attend the King's coronation on May the 6th alone, as the Duchess had opted to remain at home in California with their children. The desire to put her own family first by staying with Prince Archie on his 4th birthday, which falls on the same day, was said to have been the deciding factor. So, it changes again. Hang on a second, let's get out the spinning wheel of excuses. Round and round it goes, where it stops, nobody knows. Aha! The explanation I shall give for my non-attendance is it falls on the same day as Prince Archie's birthday, and therefore I'm going to put family first. Oh, another day, another threat to control. Let's spin that wheel of excuses. Round and round it goes. Where will it stop? Nobody knows. Oh, this time, the explanation is, I want it to all be about Charles and not about me. Oh, a couple of days have gone past. There's another threat to my control. Out comes the wheel of spinning excuses. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. This time, I'm saying I'm not attending because I didn't receive a satisfactory response to my queries about unconscious bias. Yes, here we are. Harry's wife doing it once again. I'm not coming, because her narcissism knows that she won't get what she needs, and she'll face too many threats to control. But in the interim time, I will keep doing things again and again, because the presence of this forthcoming event is a threat to my control. I need to nullify it, and I need to nullify it with my spinning wheel of excuses. So on this day, it's I'm putting family first. On this day, it's I'm making it all about Charles. And on this day, it's because you didn't give me a satisfactory response to my allegations about racism. Yes, hardly a surprise, and all indicative of the collateral consequences that the narcissist engages in, while she repeatedly deals with each threat to control as it manifests. On Monday, she is aware of the impending coronation. She has to do something to nullify that threat to control, so we get excuse number 1. On Tuesday, it manifests again as a threat to control. We get excuse number 2. On Wednesday, it manifests again as a threat to control. We get excuse number 3. And on it will go, as she desperately tries to make it all about her and, of course, nullify the threat to control that the impending coronation poses. There's more to be said and to be analysed with regard to her racism letter. Join me in the next video to learn more about it.